Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Tampa Bay Real Producers Podcast. This, of course, is the podcast that is made for real producers, by real producers, and with none other than Tampa Bay's real producers, such as our guest today, Becky Slocum. Good to have you here today, Becky.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I heard off camera this is Becky's first podcast,
That's right.
We're honored
to
have you here for your first experience in the podcast world. So
awesome.
Let's see how comfortable you get, right? As we dive in here.
Sure.
But for Becky, for people who might not know, we have featured Becky before in Tampa Bay Real Producers. I think actually more than once, if I remember correctly. I know we have featured you as a featured agent, and then I believe there might have also been maybe like Making a Difference spotlight or something like that that we did. So we've known Becky now for a while. I guess the first feature was maybe 2 years ago already.
I think it was, yeah.
Crazy how time flies. Becky is with Smith & Associates, so we'll talk about her journey a little bit. But why don't we start with just your background, like how you got yourself into Tampa if you didn't grow up here, how you eventually got into real estate. We'll start there.
Sure. So I grew up in Washington State, originally from Wisconsin, but mostly grew up and went to Washington State University. So Washington was my home, and I worked part-time in a real estate office in Washington before I moved to Tampa. I was actually just like the front desk type person and helping putting listings in and things like that. In 2004, I decided to move to Florida. Didn't know anybody, didn't have a job, and packed my car and drove the 3,000 miles across country. Got to Tampa on a Saturday night. Sunday, picked up the newspaper. Mind you, it was 19 years ago, so I faxed in my resume following up to an ad that Smith & Associates had, doing a very similar job to what I was doing up in Washington.
Yep.
They called me Monday morning. I interviewed Monday and started on Tuesday. So that was 19 years ago in June.
And you've been with Smith & Associates ever since?
Been with them ever since. But I started in that role that they hired me for, but quickly they moved me over to marketing because they're like, okay, you need to move up. And then ended up taking over the marketing department. We did a big rebrand in 2008.
Okay.
Rebranded the company, and then that's when the market really was taking a dive. But I got my license in 2007 and started selling at night and on the weekends. And as we started to have some staffing cutbacks, I ended up going full-time into real estate at the worst part of the market.
Was that part of your plan, do you think, from the get-go, or did that just evolve over time?
It evolved over time. Working on the staff side, you see both sides of the equation. Yeah. And I realized that I've always been like a very hard worker. My family's farming family, so it's just in our blood. And I knew that the only way that I could reach the economic level I wanted to reach was not to be working as a staff member, but to be a realtor and be in charge of my own destiny, essentially.
Sure.
So that's why I got my license in 2007 and just hit the ground running.
Makes sense. I mean, you're sitting there as a staff member this whole time, seeing probably agents that were doing really well, other agents that maybe were not doing as well, and being like, I could do this, right? Why
exactly.
not? Yeah.
Scary, but yes. I mean, going from a guaranteed paycheck to no paycheck was a little frightening, but I immediately joined a team and worked with a veteran agent who'd been with the company for a long time.
Yep.
We worked together for several years, and then in 2013, I went out on my own, and my business has grown exponentially since then. So,
would you give that advice, Becky, to somebody who maybe is newer in the real estate game or is just thinking about getting involved as an agent, finding a mentor, finding a team? Was that a good strategy in your opinion?
It was, because in real estate, you really, like, when you're it's a very easy entry occupation. So you take a 40-hour class, you pass the licensing test, bam, you're a realtor. But they don't teach you, in my opinion, they don't teach you about the real world of real estate.
Sure.
How to actually, there's so much that goes into it, not just
how to run like a business, right?
Running a business, client interaction, and contracts.
Yeah.
So there's a lot that I was very well supported at Smith & Associates. We have a lot of great training opportunities and contract classes and things like that, but nothing beats the real world. So shadowing a very established agent really helped me to figure out my place and how to run my business, so that when we did go our separate ways, it was not a glitch at all. It was just my business actually doubled that following year.
How did you know you were ready to go off on your own? What was that when did that decision happen? Was it something you thought about for a while and then just figured timing was there, or like how did that process work?
It actually was not my decision. She wanted to go separate ways because she was kind of reaching a retirement. So she was like, I think I'm just going to back off and, do less. And so it was very scary because it was the first time I was truly on my own and like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? And sometimes I remind people of this all the time. Like, being uncomfortable is what you want to be. If you're uncomfortable, it means you're pushing yourself, I was very comfortable working, on a team, but it truly did, because as soon as we went our separate ways, my growth was 100% more.
Yeah. So it's amazing what happens when you finally get push yourself to see what you're capable of, right?
Yeah.
That next level.
For sure.
So when you were working with the team, the production that you had, I'm assuming, was showing up under that team leader.
Yes.
So that even though it was your individual volume, that wasn't really being recognized on the MLS or so forth, right?
Yeah, we had, a lot of things. It just depended on who brought the business in.
Yeah.
But my time with her maybe was, 10 million of production on my own, but I handled a lot of her deals. So yes, a lot of it didn't show up under me.
What's been your best year that you remember since going off on your own?
This year.
Has it really?
Yeah. Well, right COVID was a great year. I think I did 20 million in COVID year. So that was like 2020. This year I'm already at 21 million for the year. So this will be my best year.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
A lot of people are saying this is a difficult, market
I know.
For a lot of people out there, but you seem to be not allowing that narrative to hinder you, huh?
No. I think it's too, like, being in this business as long as I have, and I think that's something that people tend to not think about when starting in this career, is it takes a really long time to get the ball rolling and have repeat clients and move up with your clients. So I sold them a first time home. I have some clients that have, moved up 3 times now.
Right.
So I've been doing it long enough that, you start them on their first time home, then they move to their middle home, and then they move to their big house.
Right.
So it's nice to keep that interaction with your clients and keep that relationship, so that you are moving up with them, and that helps your volume.
Yeah, absolutely. We just did a panel this month at Whiskey Cake. You know that we run those. You've been on a panel that we've had, and it was on relationships and referrals was our main topic, and that was a big part of it. Was what are some of the things that you do in between? One of the questions I know we asked was what's the most number of transactions you've had from one client relationship, right? And they all went around and shared their number. And a lot of that had to do with, so how do you facilitate something like that, right? How do you maintain that type of relationship ongoing? And has that been a big part of your success, would you say, in your business?
I think so. I take a very personalized approach. I try to, our company also did the Ninja installation. And really what that talks about is communication with your client and relationship building. So it's about keeping in contact with the people who are going to help your business grow, or the people who already know and trust you.
Right.
So those are the people who are going to refer you business. They're also the people who are going to be your champions, and they're, I know this, I know this realtor or that realtor. So a lot of that talks about keeping contact. So I'm very vigilant about people's birthdays. If you've bought a house from me, I will handwrite your birthday card every single year, and it will be in the mail. Sometimes late, sometimes not. It just depends. And if I see you get a job transfer, or I see you get a new dog, I'll send you a bark box for your dog. You know what I mean? Trying to it's not about I'm going to spend this much money on my clients. It's about I see opportunities they just had a baby. I'm going to send them something for their baby, or because I really do care about them. You build these relationships, and it's not just a transaction. I think that's where you have to separate it. You can't just treat it like a transaction and then move on to the next one.
Right.
Because your business is going to stall out.
Totally. What percentage would you say, Becky, of your business do you think comes as repeat from loyal customers or just relationships or referrals, period?
I would say at least 75% of my business is
high?
referral and past clients. Yeah.
Now, when you think back to your first year and how you started to get some initial traction, obviously, unless you maybe grew up here, which you didn't really have a warm market, right. to tap into. So what was that like in those first year or two as you were just starting to get traction? What are some things that worked for you to get going?
So I did what a lot of new agents do and bought like Zillow leads and realtor.com leads, which are like, now they call me and I'm like, no, no, thank you. I don't have any interest in those, like, because it goes out to like 5 agents. And if you're not like right on it, like calling people. So a lot of it was like, you know, that kind of cold calling, not cold calling, but like they were warm leads and that they were interested in a property. So you're calling them, but you plus 5 other agents or 10 other agents were calling them. So I found that if I could get in front of them in person and show them a house, that I would 90% of the time get them as a client.
Yep.
So for me, that was the biggest thing, was like, you know, if I could get them on the phone, if I could get them to that property, I could get them as a client.
Yep. And so whatever source you had to use, whether that was Zillow or some other lead provider, that was, you would say, the way you kind of leaned into that at first, just to start to get the pipeline going.
Absolutely.
And then, of course, you already had in mind that you were going to be building this like relationship referral model. And once you have some of those initial clients, then you can start snowballing over time. Is that
absolutely?
Is that kind of how it's worked for you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I don't do any lead generation or anything like that now. Anymore. I just don't. My business is rolling. We have, I mean, like every business has ebbs and flows, right? Hills and valleys, and the hills take care of themselves, and the valleys are where you can, like, I personally enjoy the valley and like
gives
just
you time to
chilling
breathe,
out
right?
And breathing. Cause I'm like, I know a hill's coming.
Yeah.
So I'm resting and like catching up on things, and I don't worry about it because I don't have a scarcity mindset. I know that my phone might ring later today with a $2 million listing, and we just keep moving through the, you know.
Yeah. No, it's smart. It makes a lot of sense. And I can relate to that in some of the businesses that I've had. Like, there's always certain seasonalities where it just seems insane. It's a good thing. There's a lot of business to be had, but then there's also times where it's not quite as crazy. And I almost appreciate those times, you know, that much more, so that you can maybe work a little bit more on personal things or yourself, or just try to like have that balance in your life. I think that's important.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It makes a lot of sense. So when you were in Washington, you obviously, it sounds like you were in real estate on that staffing role in Washington early. So real estate has been your main professional experience, you would say, even from graduation, from school, from business school?
I worked in industrial safety right after graduation, which doesn't translate well into the real world, other than like I could, you know, tell you what hose fittings go on fire trucks and what you'd use for different safety things, you know, masks and SCBAs and all these crazy things that have no...
I'm sure there's value to that somewhere out there.
Sure. But yeah, and then I went into real estate, and I've always toyed with the idea of real estate, even right after college. I just didn't pull the trigger.
What brought you to Florida? Was just the weather or something else?
The weather. So like I came here in May of 2000 for after college graduation, and loved Florida, but it was May. So of course I love Florida. Right. It was beautiful, right?
You didn't come in August. Huh?
No, I didn't come in August or July. And I loved it. And so I was always looking for an opportunity to move back. And I just got to a point in my life where I was like, okay, listen, what am I waiting for? I'm 28. Like, let's just do this. Like, and so I just literally like quit my jobs. My family thought I was crazy and didn't think I was really serious till I drove up to my sister's house to say goodbye.
Yeah.
And my car was loaded with my stuff. And she's like, you're really leaving? And I was like, yeah, I'm leaving. And
are they all still out there?
They are.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now I just fly them down to visit me.
That makes sense. Yeah. And every time they come down, they're probably like, maybe we should come a little bit more often.
Yeah. Well, they got work and life. So eventually my sister will move here when her grandson gets old enough to move.
Yeah. And so that you weren't obviously even dating or your husband yet at the time, right? Did you guys meet here?
We met here 6 months after I got to Tampa.
Okay.
Met at the gym.
There you go.
So
what a great meeting spot the gym could be.
Right.
Yes.
Back in Hyde Park, you know, like back in the day.
Yes, I get you. A little different now?
Yep. Yeah.
A little different crowd.
I don't know. I have no idea because I don't think the gym's there. That gym's there. Now it's like boot camp or something.
Is your husband in real estate too?
He runs a company called First Look 3D Imaging.
Okay.
So he does the Matterport 3D tours of homes.
Okay.
So is very real estate.
He's in the industry.
He's into the industry, yep, and does photography for realtors. Works for me, obviously, on my stuff.
Makes sense.
But really does a lot of business for architects and Vacasa, short-term rentals, apartments, carve.com, all of those that do those 3D renderings of their spaces.
Yeah, you mentioned short-term rentals, and I think that's the panel that we had you on, if I remember correctly.
Yes, sir.
And so is working with investors still a pretty big part of your business today?
Yeah, I do work with investors. I'm actually taking one out on Saturday. I personally invest. So we have 3 investment properties ourselves, 2 that are short-term, 1 that's long-term. I truly believe that real estate is your best investment. Makes me not such a great realtor when I have clients call me and be like, I don't know, I think I want to sell my house. I'm like, really? I don't think you should. I think you should just keep it and
Have
buy
you heard of
something else.
Airbnb yet?
Yeah, I'm like, not even Airbnb, but like just real estate. You know, my financial advisor keeps telling me how much money to put in the stock market. And I'm like, but look at my returns on my real estate investments versus what you can do with my money in the stock market. So I have a hard time.
But he's not getting commissions on that
I
stuff.
know,
So.
right? But so I do truly believe in investing in real estate. So
And I think, if I remember correctly, rentals, right? Is that what you've invested with? Is just buying and hold, and some of them are long term, and some you've turned into short term rentals.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, do you manage them yourself?
Well, sort of. So my long term I do, and then my short term we work with a company called Evolve that helps get our bookings, but then we manage, pretty much everything else.
Have you enjoyed the I guess the difference between the two, the longer term rentals process versus the short term rental process? Like, is there one that you prefer more than the other, or what's that been like?
The long term one is so easy.
Yeah.
But
that's more hands off.
It's more hands off, but your profits less.
Sure.
The short-term rental has a much bigger swing of profitability that can be. Mine are both on the beach in Daytona.
Okay.
So the challenges can be storms. Like we lost our seawall in our pool last year, and they're just now starting to rebuild it because permitting and turtles and all these things. So there are definitely, there's risk in everything you do. But we've continued to rent it while it's been... And
it's still stayed strong. You haven't seen any real issues with the market changing?
It's definitely gone down just because of like our personal situation with not having direct beach access in a pool.
Right.
But, pretty soon we'll be back up and running. But we've still had, it's been fine. It's been consistent.
It's been profitable.
It's been profitable. It's paid the bills. And that's all I really care about.
Sure.
I know that in the, when they reopen and it'll be bike week and make a lot of money again.
Yeah. Is there still a goal of wanting to continue building that portfolio?
Yeah, I'd like to get to 10.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So how do you find that challenging at all in balancing the investor mentality and the investor side, the personal gains from that with just being a retail residential agent? Do you find any conflicts at all with that, or not really?
No, the conflict right now is interest rates.
Yeah.
So it's not it's not easy to make the math work right now with interest rates for investment properties unless you're putting a significant amount of money down, which is not likely what I want to do. I liked it so much better when it was like 4%.
Yeah.
You can make money better. But I'm constantly looking.
Right.
This year might not be a year that I buy, but if the right thing comes along, I'm confident that interest rates will go down and I can refinance.
Sure.
So it's just a matter of finding the right deal.
Do you do any flips and stuff too, or not really?
I have a client who does flips that I help her, and if we can find them.
So you might have some like pocket listing type stuff, maybe that goes to an investor or flipper, and then you might be the agent representing on the back end.
Right.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I found that stuff fascinating. That's why I asked some questions about it, because I love the investment side of it. I've read Rich Dad Poor Dad when I was 19 years old, and that kind of got me interested in that whole world. And I did end up doing some house flips, and I'm from Connecticut, but I actually did a couple flips in California from a couple business partners I had, and then I had a couple rentals too up in Connecticut. So since I've been here in Florida, I've done some wholesale deals and a couple of I have partnered up on a couple flips as well. But now I've been very focused on commercial. I'd like to get involved in building more of a commercial portfolio on the investment side. But as you just said, the numbers are hard right now. The interest rates are what they are, and in commercial it's even higher. So it makes it a little bit more challenging to find good deals. But I think the opportunity there is still pretty strong if you know what you're looking for, I guess.
Yeah, I think too, you marry the house, you date the rate. So
right.
Yes, you may have
That's
to
the adage.
You may have to feed your investment for a year or two, but if you look at it long term, by the time the interest rates go down, the market's going to be flooded back in with all these buyers who are like, okay, now I'm ready. So then you're going to see over asking. So like, it's just a gamble of like, when do you think interest rates are going to go down?
Right.
And how long do I want to feed this investment? And how much am I going to feed the investment? Because you're right. The numbers just don't work right now, but it's a gamble. And like, what do you know? It's a hard thing.
Well, ideally, you would hope that you can at least be cash flow positive, right? Even with the interest rates as high as they are, if you buy at the right price and you can figure out and find good deals, then as long as it's cash flowing positively, then you're in a pretty good spot, right?
Right.
It's when you're investing, in my opinion anyway, based surely off of speculation, where it gets a little tricky for a lot of people. That's when, in my opinion, when you're not even really an investor, you're more of a gambler at that point.
Yeah.
That can be tricky. With your business, so you're not building a team or anything, right? Am I wrong about that?
Nope, not.
Okay. Did you ever have an intent to want to do so? Do you love just working on an individual basis? What's that been like for you?
Yeah, I really prefer working alone. I do have support staff that helps me when if I'm going out of town, I have somebody who covers for me. If I get too many deals, we have contract coordinators who can step in and help take some of that load.
It's a good problem to have, right?
Yeah, yeah. But otherwise, I'm too much of a control freak to really like hand my business off to other people.
Yeah.
And the dynamic of a team is just it's a little too complicated for me.
It's a lot.
I
it takes
like
a certain
the
type of person,
simplicity.
I think, who wants to be a coach, right? Wants to be a team leader. And that's what one of the things I like about real estate is you don't have to do that, right? There's more than one way to be successful in it. And a lot of people just end up running individual businesses and crush it that way. So you got to find that niche for you, right?
Right.
Yeah.
It's nice to not have to really like answer to anybody. And I guess if you were a leader of a team, you'd be the boss, sort of. So you're not like answering to anybody. But I just love I can do whatever I want, and nobody's looking.
Yeah, and you also might not have as much interaction with clients if you're focused on the team, right? So it's just kind of, I think, who you want to really spend your time with and work more with. And so I think that comes down to a personal preference thing more than anything.
Yeah.
When you think about the rest of this year, and you already mentioned earlier you're having your best year ever, so that's amazing and awesome. What gets you excited, Becky, about moving forward? Like, what are some goals for either next year or beyond? Like, do you have a vision as to where you think you want to take your business in years to come? What do you get fired up about? I really don't focus on the production number. I really don't. I feel like as long as I've had years where it's like 2020 sold 20 million. The next year I sold 16 million. But to me, success is not feeling a difference in my lifestyle between the 2 years. So yeah, you made 4 million or you sold 4 million less, but I didn't feel it, So I don't focus. I know my broker hates this, but I don't set a goal, and I don't. Is that a bad word?
I don't set a goal, and because I don't want the pressure. Like, am I enjoying my job? Am I serving my clients? Am I paying my bills? Am I taking care of my family? So if all of those things are happening, then to me it doesn't really matter. Like the fact that I'm at 21 million. I'm like, how the heck did that happen?
Right.
But I don't pay attention. Like, I don't check my numbers constantly. I don't keep track of where I'm at. And then I'll look it up and I'm like, wow. Not bad, huh? Yeah. Not too shabby. Not too shabby. We still have months left. So it's great. I love what I do. So for me, it's not about the money. What do you think the most rewarding part of your business is to you? Finding exactly what my client is looking for and being good service to them, customer service. I've always loved customer service. Like, I love people to be happy in the transaction. I love the negotiating and getting them a deal, and knowing that your client will pay this, but then you're negotiating, trying to get them it's about getting the deal, exceed their expectations. Be like, okay, I know you told me to counter this, but let me just try something. And then the art of the negotiation is really fun to me. I love winning and winning, but making the other side think they won. Yeah. I could tell when you describe that, you get fired up about it. You know, a little glimmer in your eye right there, Becky. Yeah. Have you ever read the book? What's his name? Chris Voss is the author. He's the old FBI hostage negotiator. I've just watched, I was on a flight back from New York, and I watched 7 episodes of his mastermind class. Oh, really? Wow, yes. I haven't seen that. That would be kind of interesting. It's really good. Yeah. Do you remember the name of the book? I forget now. I blanked.
Do you know what I'm talking about, Rob?
The art of negotiation?
No, it's something different. I'm going to think about. Yeah, that's what it is. Never split the difference. Yeah. It's a great book. I've read it before.
Okay,
it's been a while though that I've read it, but I remember I took a whole crap load of notes when I was going through it, and it's all about negotiation strategy and the psychology of, and it is a game, right? It's an art, really. It really is. And it's kind of interesting hearing about it from a perspective of an ex-FBI hostage negotiator. Like that's a totally different ball game when it comes to negotiation, right?
Yeah.
But the same strategies and skills apply.
Yeah, I was totally eating it up on the plane. So I was like, next episode, because they're like short. But I was just like listening to all of, and it all goes back to. So in school, I was studying business and sociology. I loved sociology, but I didn't think there was going to be any money in it. So I pushed more towards the business side, but I took as many sociology classes as I could because I loved the idea of how we interact with each other in this world.
Yeah, well, I mean, real estate, we've said it multiple times actually on this podcast. It really is like you're a professional psychologist, not only with clients on a regular basis, but for people who do build teams, that's the same concept, right? It's really about the emotional psychology of how you can get the best out of people and also how you can serve your clients and handle their emotions, because we all know that for most people, the real estate investment is probably their biggest thing that many of them have invested into for their own home or if it's a property, an investment property. So emotions are always part of that game.
It certainly is.
Yeah. Makes sense. For people that might not know you that well yet on the personal side, let's just go through a couple quick things so for people to know more about who Becky is. So what do you guys love to do for fun? What keeps you busy here in this beautiful state that we live in an area?
So my daughter's in 5th grade, so we're very tied to she goes to Roland Park, IB World School, and we love it there. And then travel. I mean, I work to travel.
Yes, I can relate to that.
That's what keeps me going. So when you talk about like working 7 days a week and doing all this business all year long, I have 6 trips planned all the way to June or July of next year.
Nice.
And that's because I have to have a goal. Like I'm like, okay, we went to New York this weekend. Next month we're going to California. Like I have to have something that I'm like, okay, I feel like that's my pay yourself first, right? And for many years I didn't pay myself first, and now I'm like, okay, we're traveling.
It's funny you say that. I am the exact same way. I look forward to the next trip, and once it happens, I have to. What's the next one, right?
Yeah,
it's got to be on my calendar.
6 already out.
I love that.
Played out. So.
Yeah, we do the same thing. As you know, I have 5 young kids. How many do you have?
1.
You have 1. She's in 5th grade. You said.
5th grade.
There you go. Is she starting to you think the real estate world, or not yet? Too early.
She charges me $2 a showing when she has to accompany me.
So she gets business already.
So she gets her money, but she won't. She's like, put it in my account. She won't she won't spend it.
Nice. So she's already learning the investment side too.
Yeah.
The time value of money, right?
Yeah, but I don't think she wants to be a veterinarian, so that's fine. I want her to.
Gotcha.
I'm like, I'll work the front desk.
Yeah, I have one daughter who loves animals as well. I wonder if that's the path that she'll take. She's 9 years old now. But I was saying we have like a Blue Green membership. I'm sure you've heard of them, right? It's basically like a timeshare program, but it's structured a little differently than a traditional timeshare where you just have one condo that you can use once a year or whatever, right? Like this is a point-based system that has 90 resorts all over the country.
Okay.
And we have worked well for our family because most hotel rooms aren't really great for a family of 7 with 5 kids. But these suites all have their own kitchen, and we have a separate bedroom, and the kids have their bedroom. So it's more like an apartment that we're renting each time. And it's been really a cool thing for us because we get to kind of plan in advance and always book where that next place is going to be. So I can relate a lot to the next trip, the travel thing. It makes sense. Yeah. What's a favorite place you've been to? Do you have a favorite spot?
We went to Spain this summer, and I loved Barcelona. I mean, Barcelona's got to be. It's like
I've heard
right now, it's like top of my list of places. Like a lot of places we've been and would go back, but like if somebody said where should I go, my advice right now is Barcelona.
Interesting.
It was just such a beautiful place, and it was awesome.
Do you get to go to Europe often, or not really?
We're going to Italy for Thanksgiving.
Beautiful.
We went to London and Paris last year for spring break, and we're going back this spring break and bringing my sister and her family.
That's awesome.
So
yeah, Italy was one of my favorite trips. I loved it.
Oh, I can't wait.
Have you been before?
No.
Really? Where are you going?
Rome, Venice. We're doing Pompeii. Florence, and Milan to go up to Lake Como.
Very cool.
So we're kind of hitting it.
Yeah, you got a lot there. Are you going to be there for a couple weeks, as it sounds like?
Yeah, we're there like 10 or 11 days. So.
Okay. Yeah, we were there for about 10 days too, but we only did Rome and Florence, really, were our two main stops. So there's a lot still that you're going to see that we didn't. Yeah. But I loved Florence. It was Rome was awesome too, because I love history, but Florence I felt like it was like a real cultural, just different vibe. People were really friendly. The food was amazing. So I think you'll end up loving it. Italy itself, every time you have dinner, it's like a 5-hour event where they serve you the perfect portions and they space it out so you never feel full. It's just like, it's an experience.
I can't wait for the food.
Yeah.
I'm very looking forward to that.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
That, and if you ever get a chance to go to Prague, that was one of my favorite spots as well.
That keeps coming up. We have actually a running list on my phone, like a note in my iPhone. And we put places as we hear about them or we see them or we get, and that you're the second person, I think, in this week that said that.
Yeah.
So I think we're going to have to add that to the list. But
it was a really cool experience because it was, I think, the only major city that wasn't destroyed during the war. So a lot of the architecture there is from like the 1100s. And it's all, you feel like you went back in time when you're walking through the streets, and it's just a really cool experience. Yeah. So I would recommend it for sure. We were there for about a week. And then we actually ended up going to a concentration camp that was right outside of Prague. That was a whole different experience. I mean, an awesome experience, but for different reasons, obviously.
Yeah.
But that was a memorable for sure. And just the whole thing was pretty neat.
Yeah, I think that, I didn't get to travel when I was growing up. We're a very poor family. And so, like, giving this to my daughter and taking her to all these places and then, like, getting those real life connections to the things she's learning in school is really important to us. Like when we went to New York, we went to Statue of Liberty and Ellis Island, and we looked up my husband's relatives who came through, and we could see the ship manifest. And like my husband didn't know his grandfather's name he came from Denmark or Netherlands, and his name was Jan, but I guess it sounds like John, so he changed his name to John. And we talked about, anyway, it's just nice to like make that connection for our daughter and like figure out like, this wasn't what his name was. His name wasn't John, it's Jan.
Right.
But
that's awesome though, to be able to know the history. I think that's really, really important.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. I feel the same way about our kids too. I wanted to try to let them see some of these experiences that I never had a chance to see growing up at all. So it's cool. And it's, again, real estate can be an amazing business to help you have the flexibility to do that, and obviously the income as well to make it happen. So congrats for you being able to make that happen already. A couple rapid fire things, because I know I'm going to get you out of here on time. Do you have a favorite book or seminar, or even an author maybe that has made a big impact professionally or personally on you?
I love Rich Dad Poor Dad. That was a great book. The Go-Giver, also a great book, and that really helps talk about like doing more for others. The Ninja program that is offered, it's specifically, I don't know if it's specifically for real estate necessarily, it's for business in general, is a great program that's offered around the country.
Very cool. Yeah, I've heard of that too. A lot of good nuggets there thrown out for sure. I think those are some good recommendations for people to check out. Do you have a favorite movie or TV show?
Really, I watch a lot. I watch everything.
Do you?
That's what I do in my office at home.
What's the last show you binged?
Love is Blind. The new
is that Netflix?
New season. It's on Netflix.
Okay.
But I love Outlander. I mean, there's so many great shows.
Yeah, there is. I just finished watching The Suits, all like 9 episodes of it.
Okay.
So 9 seasons, I mean. Yeah.
No, I haven't gone down that path. I know it's like now it's topping on Netflix, and I'm like,
yeah. Once you start it, you won't stop. It's pretty addicting. But it took a while to get through all 9 seasons. There's a lot of content, but it was good. It was very good. Yeah, no doubt. I give it a good recommendation if you want to if you have time to pound it out over a weekend or something. Who knows?
Sure.
With all that free time that you have, Becky.
Right.
Yes. Right. Okay, here's my last question for you as we wrap up the episode. I think it's always interesting to me, as you said, we build a lifestyle and build a business that hopefully supports that lifestyle. But at some point, you'll look back when you're on your rocking chair and you'll start to think back to like, what, if at all, do I want to be remembered for? What do I want my legacy to be, right? And if you think about that, what do you think would be most important to you that you'd want to be remembered for, professionally or personally? What do you think that would mean the most to you?
I think it's probably what you do for others, whether, it's involvement in the community. I'm co-chairing the Cove Gala this year, and like just giving back to our community. I've been involved with Red Cross, Metropolitan Ministries, Humane Society. So
some great causes there.
It's like just being out in the community and doing more for others than, you know what I mean? Like that means more to me than anything.
Yeah, I wish we had more time to talk about some of those causes, because there's a lot of value for what you just threw up there. We have a feature, as you know, every month called Making a Difference. And like I said, we did feature you in that. And I can't remember exactly which cause it was that we spotlighted. Was it Red Cross? Yeah. Okay. And ultimately, there's so many great organizations that are throughout the Tampa Bay area for people to get involved with. And that's why we run the articles, too, is to hopefully bring a spotlight to some of them.
For sure.
You just never know when someone just maybe wants to donate to help one out or put their time invested or whatever the case may be. But I can feel what you're saying, like having something that's bigger than just yourself and knowing that you're a part of an organization you believe in.
Absolutely.
I think, makes your work feel that much more purposeful, I'd have to imagine.
Yeah, I can't imagine that it's going to be like, oh, I hope people remember I was a great realtor.
Yeah, or I sold 20 million at that.
Right. Yeah, like who cares about that? Like, other than like we had a good experience, but it's doing more for others.
Makes sense. Well, I'm glad we can get you here, Becky. It was a joy to kind of dive into your story a little bit more. Hopefully we'll have you back on the show at some other time to talk about the next steps, right? Whatever that might be in the future. For those of you who watch the episode, we always end each episode with the same challenge, and that is to take one action step from something that we discussed today that you think is going to be able to help you personally or professionally move forward. And if you invested the time to watch this episode, let's make that time worth it. So maybe it's just one of the book recommendations that Becky mentioned. Maybe you might need to be, if you're new in the business and you have to kind of dive into Zillow leads the way Becky did, or learn some other lead-based program the way Becky did and bite the bullet of the frustrations that might bring. But know that if you build your business right, and you focus on referrals and you focus on good customer service systems like Becky talked about, you can, within a period of time, hopefully within sooner rather than later, you can get 75 to 80% of your annual business coming from referrals and loyal clients, the way that Becky has over in her career. So take one action step, though, to make it worth it. And if you do that, then, of course, this time would have been worth your investment in watching. But we'll see you on the next episode of Tampa Bay Real Producers. We'll check you later.